constant. You got to figure out, we got the sponsorship scandal, we got a new scandal developing with Harper. What is the cost to even review all these things? This is a game to keep us pacified that they're doing something about it. Okay? Another dot is this increased government regulations and corporate policy. It was funny because as I was putting this together, I thought, oh, I just, update on the news, get some current events. In the few weeks it took me to sort of put this together, I lost track of how many new government policies, new corporate rules, all this stuff coming down. Now you can't even pay, you got to prepay your gas, right? Despite if you were the business owner who owned the gas station, said, no, I enjoyed the interaction with my customers, I enjoyed the convenience for my customers. Nope, you have to now do it this way. And what do? We're frustrated. Granted, I just heard actually this morning, a lot of people are getting very frustrated at the gas station. What it is causing, in a sense, potential violence between the owner now and the people. Where's the right of the owner of the gas station? So, I mean, pick one. There's so many of them now. I try to condense it down to one or two. Another one is what we're really going to explore later on is the unnecessary national debt. That has been held over our head. How many of us really know what it is, where it came from, and what's it for, what's it cause? And one, do we even need it? And the last one of the dots is this economic enslavement of Canadians. We may not look at, we tend to look at life in a short period of time frame. But when you flash back throughout history, there's many in the room here, were adults before the 60s versus now. Is there not more money coming out of your pocket from everywhere you look? Now? Okay, when is it going to end? When is our government going to get enough taxes? There's taxes now. Literally, you're being taxed from one source or another. There's over 200 of them. 24 hours a day. They got you when you're sleeping. You got property taxes. Everything. Taxes you've never even heard of. Yeah, some of them they give words like fees or this or that. But today, Canadians are economically enslaved. It's the new form of slavery. You realize the old form of slavery was too costly. You actually had to house them, feed them, clothe them. Now, you get them out there, you give them a bit, you send them off to take care of themselves, and who cares what happens to them? Because they don't know that you're their master anymore. So we're going to look at that. But again, when we connect the dots, I think there's a good reason to really explore reclaiming our rights, our freedoms in our country. So here's how I look at it as the road to recovery. 1, be willing to accept the fact that those we trusted with the public purse are selling out themselves and our country to the highest bidder. That, I think, Bev's presentation just exposed all the relevant facts behind it. 2, be willing to educate ourselves of who we are in this legal system, and as equally important, who we are not. Now, this may not make a lot of sense to anybody that hasn't had a chance to go to our website or anything, but we'll explain it as we go. And the third one here is be willing to take some action. Accepting the reality is one step, educating yourself is one step, but unless we stand up and do something, it's all for naught. So it's in one essence, it's a trinity of sort. We have to go down and take these things. So what we're going to do this afternoon is deal with 3 subject matters relative to, in general terms, what our government has taught us. How many people have heard there's no property rights in the Charter?
Oh, yeah.
Now, whether there's property rights, that's just one question. Are there property rights in the Charter? But another question is, so what if there's not? Should there? Do we want them in there? See, just because we had, like, our local MP here saying, for the Conservatives, there's no property rights in the Charter, and the Conservatives are going to promise, nevertheless, work hard and get property rights in the Charter. Well, do we even want property rights in the Charter? Have we ever considered that? And we're going to explore that specifically because I think it's very crucial to find out what's really going on behind that statement. The second one, income tax is certain as death. That's what we're taught. Well, where I think it's important to sort of look at this, there was 46 years in this country where our country ran quite well without income tax. So is it a reality? Is it as certain as death? What is it? So we're going to spend some time looking at that. And the third one is Canadians live in a democratic society. That's what we hear. Well, we even heard earlier today that it's a fascist socialism. So I think it's prudent to look down and say, well, what is a democratic society? Is that what Canada is? Is that all we are, or are we more? And then how does that relate to allowing us to take some action, in one sense, maybe some proper action? So here we're going to start right out here on property rights in the Charter. Let's go and look. I mean, when we hear something, what we should have as our first instinct is go and verify. it's empirical now, they lie to us, so for us to take their word on anything, I think it's now prudent to say, well, if you say that, let's go and look. So here's section 1. It goes, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms guarantees the rights and freedoms set out in it, subject to only such reasonable limitation prescribed by law as can be demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society. Section 2 is actually the freedoms that the Charter guarantees. Section 7 is the one relative to your rights. It goes, everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of the person, and the right not to be deprived thereof, except in accordance with the principles of fundamental justice. So right on the face, you're right. You read that 100 times, and guess what you won't find in there? Any mention about property rights. Okay? But when we pause enough to question, what does everyone mean? Who would even think of looking at that? But what does everyone mean relative to the Charter, relative to our legal system? And so before we really can then explore property rights relative to it, we're going to have to first explore what everyone is in here. Okay? So who is everyone in law? Well, this comes out of Blackstone Commentaries, out of Book 1, The Rights of Persons, on page 119. Lord Blackstone goes, persons also are divided by law into either natural persons or artificial. Natural persons are such as God of nature formed us. Artificial are such as created and devised by human laws for the purpose of society and government, which are called corporations or body politics. So, if up until this point you've never contemplated that, what we have in Canada, everyone includes two types of people. Now, these categories, like when we see the word here, which are called corporations. Corporations, when you hear the word corporation, it doesn't just mean incorporated companies. It means any artificial person created by the government for the purpose of carrying on society. So when you look at that relative to the Charter, everyone has the word everyone, that's who they're actually referring to. So for us to explore the concept of property rights, we're actually going to now have to go on two paths of research. One, where's the property rights of an artificial person? And two, where's the property rights of a natural person? Although this is out of the middle of the 18th century, I threw this slide in here to show that this concept is an element of Canada's legal system. Okay, this is the Canadian Law Dictionary. It goes natural person. A natural person is a human being that has the capacity for rights and duties. Okay? Very clear. So how many people here are human beings? Okay? How many people here have the capacity for rights and duties? It means you're mentally competent, you're over 18. Okay, guess what? By default, without any registration, without any application to the government, you are a natural person. Okay, let's read the next one. Artificial person. A legal entity, not a human being. So how many not human beings do we have here? There's always a couple in every crowd, right? Recognized as a person in law to whom legal rights and duties may attach. So what we have here in law is the two types of persons. So we're going to explore that. Because that's a very crucial understanding we need to hold, is like, what rights are for who? So to really help round that off, especially from a legal perspective, we want to look for another word that's used in law for a natural person. Okay? This comes out of Canadian Law Dictionary again. It goes individual. That's the other word that in 80% of the time it actually means a natural person when you see in statutes undefined. It goes, under the Canadian Bill of Rights, the right of the individual extends to natural persons only. Okay? It goes on, it says section 15.1 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms provides that every individual is equal before and under the law. It has been ruled that charter equality rights extend to natural persons only. So if you're out there looking for equality rights, do you not think it's prudent to actually know who you are in the first place? And as equally important, know who are you not? Okay? So this concept of duality of person, of two persons in law, it's actually mind-boggling because it's not real. You realize artificial persons are just a figment of man's imagination. You know, and if you actually went to a doctor and says you're talking with yourself, they'd actually give you antipsychotic drugs. So it's very hard for us to accept it because it's not tangible. But when we understand the mechanisms and the operating of law, it's totally allowable in law. So here's a great explanation of that out of a book called Jurisprudence by Sir John Solomon. It actually was printed in 1937. Okay? It goes, double personality. It often happens that a single human being possesses a double personality. He is one man, but two persons. Okay, unus homus, it is said. Plurus personas distinct, in one capacity or in one right, as English lawyers say, he may have legal relations with himself in his other capacity or right.